Reports out of camp, Shedeur Sanders is looking like Shedeur Sanders. He's dominating the Browns rookie camp. He's obviously better than Dylan Gabriel. And now my question is, how many NFL teams are now going to regret passing on Shedeur Sanders? You proved your point. Now, how much will you regret it? New Orleans Saints, how much will you regret passing on Shedeur Sanders? Now that Derek Carr retired and your quarterback room is one of the worst quarterback rooms that the NFL has ever seen. You have wide receivers, you have offensive linemen, you have defensive linemen, you have corners. You don't have a quarterback, Saints. Now the New Orleans Saints are going to be no good next year. Probably going to be the worst team in the entire NFL because they wanted to prove a point. Shedeur Sanders is a generational talent. He always has been. And all you have to do in order to see that is go to YouTube or turn on any game film that he's ever played in his entire life. Shedeur Sanders was the best quarterback in the entire NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders is going to win Rookie of the Year, and Shedeur Sanders is going to make everybody regret that they passed on him. If the Cleveland Browns win an NFL If the Cleveland Browns win a Super Bowl, the reason will be Shedeur Sanders. People are acting surprised that Shedeur Sanders is playing better than Dylan Gabriel in camp. Newsflash, Shedeur Sanders has always been better than Dylan Gabriel. There was never a point in time that any scout, anybody who has ever watched football, has said, oh, Dylan Gabriel at 5'10 throws the ball better than Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion Sanders. Nobody has ever even thought that until the Cleveland Browns are like, let me go ahead and make a bold decision. So now, Dylan Gabriel's career is in serious jeopardy because his biggest competition is the best quarterback in the entire NFL draft. He's going to be stuck with the Browns because he's on a guaranteed rookie contract. And now, after this 3 years, you're just going to see him being a bench player. His career is effectively over before it begins because the Browns chose Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel in the same draft. So the real loser of the Shedeur Sanders stick up is Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel lost more out of that than anybody else in the entire NFL. The Cincinnati Bengals are generationally the cheapest team in the entire world, the cheapest organization in the entire world. The Bengals won't pay Trey Hendrickson. We haven't signed our first round draft pick or second round draft pick because two rookies who just got drafted are having to negotiate contracts. Reports are that the Bengals paid that the 17th round draft pick last year got paid more money than the Bengals are trying to pay Shamar Stewart this year. So now Shamar Stewart, who has not played a single football game, he has been in Cincinnati for less than a week. He has never put on a jersey, a helmet. He hasn't been fitted for a pair of shoes, anything. He's having to go through contract negotiations with the Browns because the Browns don't want to pay him what he's already earned. If you were going to draft him 17th overall, why don't you want to pay him? And my real question now, did the Bengals draft Shamar Stewart at 17th overall earlier than he was supposed to go because they thought that they were going to be able to pay him less? Were they looking for a pay cut on a rookie contract in the NFL draft? This is a new level of cheap that the Bengals are reaching. Trey Hendrickson is saying that the Bengals have not even communicated with him in order to work out a contract situation. What's worse than that, you also haven't heard the Bengals talk about trading Trey Hendrickson. So the Bengals are basically just sitting on this asset and letting him get worse and worse. Because do you think Trey Hendrickson is working out every single day to get better to play for the Cincinnati Bengals? Or do you think that Trey Hendrickson is taking time off with his family right now on vacation because he's disgruntled about his contract situation? The Cincinnati Bengals have all of the talent to win a Super Bowl, but they lose every single game in the front office, and it's a disgrace to the city of Cincinnati. The Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry look ultimately useless. There's nobody in the world who can replace Stephen Curry on an NBA basketball team. The way that he runs, the way that the offense revolves around him, Stephen Curry is the best player in the entire world. When Michael Jordan got hurt on the Bulls, or when Michael Jordan left to play baseball for the Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen and the Bulls were still really, really good. When LeBron James took games off for the Miami Heat, The Miami Heat were still really, really good. LeBron James left Cleveland. Cleveland Cavaliers are still really, really good. The only player who has had an impact like that on an organization is Stephen Curry. When Steph Curry doesn't play for the Golden State Warriors, they don't have success. This is true before his career, and this is true when he doesn't play during his career, and it will be true after his career. Stephen Curry is a generational player to that organization, and he deserves something more than a statue. Stephen Curry deserves to have the arena named after him. Anthony Edwards is losing respect for me because he's playing against the Golden State Warriors with no Steph Curry, and they are struggling. The Timberwolves look like they're having more trouble with the Golden State Warriors with no Steph than they were in their first round of the NBA playoffs when Anthony Edwards looked like this star scoring 40 points a game. Anthony Edwards is no Michael Jordan, and we need to stop saying that. We're quick to say, oh, he's Michael Jordan, he's young Mike, he talks like Mike, and he jumps like Mike. No, there's a different level to that. Playing against the Golden State Warriors, you're really playing Anthony Edwards against Brandon Podziemski, and he's playing down to his competition. Anthony Edwards doesn't have that dog in him all the time. And that's what separates great players from elite Hall of Famers. This series against the Golden State Warriors told me everything that I needed to know about Anthony Edwards. Oklahoma City is getting all that they can Oklahoma City is getting all that they can handle with the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets are taking them down to the wire every single game. Okay, the Thunder might have one blowout. NBA players, after they start getting blown out, they realize they're not going to win this game. Okay, bench the starters, everybody sit down, we'll get them next game. That's what happened with the Thunder. There's nothing to gloat about a home blowout. So Thunder fans, pump your brakes. What you need to look at is the fact that the Nuggets should be up on the Thunder 3-1 in the series. And the Thunder still have 2 more rounds to go if they were to win a championship. It's clear now the Thunder don't have what it takes to win a championship. They're lacking at different levels. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is failing to get his other teammates involved because he doesn't trust them. There have been times in the game where Shai went to these other guys and said, hey, I need you to do it. They didn't come through. So people are wondering, hey, why isn't Shai Gilgeous-Alexander passing to wide open teammates? It's because when Shai passes to wide open teammates, they don't make the shot. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is trained to think, okay, now I have to score every single bucket for my team. If my team wants to win, I have to be the one to put the ball in the bucket. That is a ripple effect. That creates a lack of trust. Now other players aren't ready to shoot when they get the ball because typically you're not giving them the ball. That's what you're seeing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That kind of stuff doesn't get fixed in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's going to be an off season. It's going to be the entire next year until those guys gain Shai's trust and until Shai gains the other guy on the team's trust. This is something that you can see when you watch basketball. You don't have to hear about it. Bill Belichick deserves more. Bill Belichick deserves the same amount, if not more, criticism than Shannon Sharpe does. Bill Belichick is letting his 24-year-old girlfriend ruin his entire career. Hard Knocks came to UNC and they said, hey, Bill Belichick, we would love to cover your entire first year at UNC. We're going to have camera crews follow you around. We're going to tell the entire story and build a great narrative for you as a coach. This is going to be a Hall of Fame capstone for you, and we'll have it all on video. Would you like that, Bill? Bill said, oh, yes, I would love that. I'll talk to the university. The university said that would be fantastic. Hard Knocks starts working with Bill Belichick. His girlfriend is telling them what they cannot film. She's telling them what to say, when to say, what they can put in the clips. She's calling all of the shots. This is not normal. She's 24 years old. She's the same age as the college players on the football field. And then Bill Belichick goes on a 60 Minutes interview, and his girlfriend is telling the reporter, hey, you can't answer this. We're not talking about this. Once again, his girlfriend is calling the shots. She's a 24-year-old girl. So how is Bill Belichick getting mind washed into thinking, hey, I need to leave everything to my girlfriend Jordan? Reports have also come out that Bill Belichick's family does not support the relationship. So what is going on with Bill Belichick? I've heard theories that Bill Belichick met Jordan through an escort service working with Robert Kraft. That's why Jordan didn't want to say how they met. They say Oh, we met in the airport. You think that Bill Belichick at 72 years old, Bill Belichick does not just go shoot his shot at women, say, "Hey, I think you're pretty, can I buy you a drink?" Bill Belichick does not do that. There was not one day that Bill Belichick decided in the airport he was going to walk over to a 24-year-old girl and ask for her phone number so that they could connect. Bill Belichick did not do that. He met Jordan through an escort service, and it is clear. He's ruining his career based off of a short fling or some sort of brainwashing. But Bill Belichick isn't normal. He's getting extorted the same way that Shannon Sharpe is, and he deserves the same amount of criticism that Shannon Sharpe is getting. Mark Pope did, oh my God. Mark Pope did a phenomenal job filling out our roster with transfer portal players. The guys that are on Kentucky's team, for the most part, all were 5 stars, highly recruited, and or had been great where they were before. These are not just normal transfers. These are elite level transfers, and applause to Kentucky's NIL fund. Kentucky leads the NCAA in NIL fund spending. That's what Kentucky basketball should be. We are Kentucky. We dominate everything. As Calipari used to say, we don't know how recruiting is going to change, but what we do know is that however it changes, we're going to be the best at it. Because we're Kentucky, we have the best resources, the best program, the best history. Kentucky is the best basketball program in the nation. And now we're coming together as an NIL collective and we're supporting the players, the team, and the opportunity to give Mark Pope an NCAA championship. That is what I have been waiting on. Kentucky should never lose an NIL bidding war to any university. If a kid wants to go somewhere else, so be it. He doesn't have the heart to be a Kentucky kid. But if it comes down to money and dollars, Kentucky should always, always, always be able to win an NIL battle. Ohio State not only won a national championship in football, but they then went on to dominate the NFL draft. Ohio State had the most draft picks out of any university in the entire draft. And then, even after the draft, they had a ton of guys get signed as undrafted free agents who will make football teams. That goes to show that Ohio State is a dominant football program, the most dominant in the nation. And then, wait for this, Ohio State is favored to win it all again next year, resetting their roster, new quarterback, new running backs, new everything. And they're supposed to win it again next year. Ohio State football is back at its peak, dominating everybody. Now, the biggest accomplishment that Ohio State has to make next year, they need to beat Michigan. Beating Michigan needs to be the #1 priority for the Ohio State Buckeyes because it has been so many years since we have beat them. And now we get an opportunity to beat Michigan at home. Finally. Ohio State and Ryan Day, this is what you need to prove that we are the #1 program in the nation. If Ohio State loses to Michigan this upcoming year, Ryan Day deserves to get fired. The Ohio State-Michigan game means more than any national championship could ever mean. One national championship is fantastic. 5 years in a row of losing to Michigan is a disgrace. That's what our program is built on. If we're good enough to win the national championship, we need to be good enough to look our rivals in the face and beat them after they planted their flag on Block O this year. So Ryan Day's ultimate goal and now his biggest challenge is going to be, okay, I have more pressure on me than ever to go beat Michigan at Michigan because of what they did in Ohio last year. This will be a career-defining game for Ryan Day. And no matter how many games Ohio State wins up to that point or after the point of the Michigan game, Ryan Day's entire football legacy and career will be judged off of the 2025 Ohio State-Michigan football game.